Yeah, that's pretty weird. That field let you see everything around you, essentially.
Complaining to myself wouldn't bring back the figure in uniform. Bitter at my own incompetence, I gave up the chase. Though temporary, the park had become Alice's woods. For anyone within a few feet of the park, other park goers' identifiable features and voices became murky, like the stuff of fairy tales. Tonight's proceedings may have had a witness, but if our identities were still hidden, then this was still a chance.
So because of the magic, he couldn't identify who did that was Aoko, I guess? The voice and look wouldn't stand out enough?
I returned to the park. That uniform was, without a doubt, from my high school. That was clue enough. If he was a schoolmate of mine, I had plenty of methods to flush him out. Amidst my grumbling, I set my priorities straight. Before some strange rumor spread, I needed to seal the witness's mouth shut. That was the highest priority, quickly and without mercy. Looking up, I saw Alice's previously distant figure. Though she was in as much trouble as I was, with her existence as a magus also exposed, she had but one thing to say.
Yes, it does.
Her statue-like figure, staring into the darkness, seemed more expressionless than calm. I was pissed off. Her inscrutable voice resembled the moonless night so much it made me angry.
Oh. Wow, that was short. Check the archive.
Blue.
Blue's in her name.
Well, I mean, blue is the fifth magic, right?
Yeah.
So,
huh. Oh, that black one
is chapter 3.
Oh, yeah, that just showed up. Wow, okay. I guess there aren't as many interludes as we thought there would be.
No, evidently not.
Alright, well, hey, cruising along.
I like the casual Aoko chest shot in the,
Well, you can't really see too much there. Chapter 4, Losing Her Name.
There really isn't any other way of saying this. I am a magician. Kind of like those witches in fairy tales who live alone in the woods and perform miracles with the wave of a finger. While the popular depiction of it differs from reality, it's closer to the truth than you know. Though, just so we're clear, no, I don't fly through the sky on a broom. I can't transform into animals or speak with small birds. Modern mages are nothing so fanciful. Our existence sounds unbelievable, but we're quite grounded. Though it may seem like we can do anything, we're actually majorly constrained. And while I still have a lot to learn about it, this is my real job. Sounds a lot more romantic than being a high school student, right? Naturally, this is a secret I don't just share with anyone. A mage must do everything in their power to conceal their work. That's the first and most important of the Association's 10 laws. Not that I'm tempted to let the cat out of the bag in the least.
Yeah, it would just be trouble.
Knees. My secret identity as an honor student is intact, and absolutely no good would come of me revealing my true nature. If anything, it'd only lead to more headaches. That's why I do everything in my power to keep it a secret. Of course, if I'd accomplished anything as a magician by now, then maybe I'd see it differently. I've fantasized about revealing my secret life's work to a single, special person when I finally make something of myself.
Alright.
Yeah, it'd be pretty stellar to just confess one day. By the way, I'm a magician. That idea alone is enough to keep me from spoiling the big reveal, regardless of the association's rules. My grandfather patted me on the head when I shared these thoughts with him. I don't know if that was praise or what, but I remember that his touch was gentle. I first learned that I'd be succeeding my grandfather on the day I graduated middle school. When I returned home, there he was.
Your elder sister left on a journey. From this day forth, you are the heir to the Aozaki.
He said it in such a matter-of-fact way. I knew that the Aozaki family passed down this old tradition of magecraft, but to be honest, I never imagined I would be the one to wield it.
Pretty sure her sister is older than her, so yeah.
Magecraft is supposed to be passed down to a single child. It was my sister's role to take the mantle, and I had no interest in dedicating myself to so many rules and routines. I planned to live a normal life. I had hopes and dreams for the future. I felt bad for my sister, but I was determined to live my life my way. And while I managed to do just that for a time, I was blindsided by a vicious counterpunch. Since then, I've been thrust headlong into a world I'd only observed from afar. It was a hell of a way to start high school. But I suppose it wasn't all that bad, all things considered. A lot has happened since then. I was so dazed by this newfound life that a year of school motored right by. I was the second year before I knew it. Thankfully, nothing drastic has happened. The 6 months, my roommate and I totally tried to kill each other notwithstanding.
Wow.
As it happens, I've got a natural talent at this magic stuff. So I've yet to have any hang-ups there either.
So Aoko really is just learning within the last year. She'd been the backup who hadn't really practiced any of it until now.
Oh, you are too old. Too old to begin the training.
Nope.
Evidently not.
No.
I'm only human, so I've had my fair share of headaches for sure, but never once did I worry about my future. I thought my life would be smooth sailing all the way. If only everything had gone to plan last night.
どう？
Alice Kuonji asked Aoko Aozaki the second she entered the house. Her dark eyes succeeded where her voice failed to communicate the gravity of the situation. Nice scarf. Aoko took off her unflattering coat, hung it on the hanger, and sat down on the sofa. Alice sat across from her with a table separating them.
そっちは？よくないわね。偵察に行けるのは7個ぐらい。ここのところ使ってばかりで作り置きをする余裕もなかったし。
7 of something.
Alice's gaze drifted from Aoko to the box on the table.
あの夜、町を監視していたやつはいないの？町の偵察は完璧なんでしょ？そいつら。
Isn't that the box with the chocolates in it?
I guess it's a different box?
それは昼間の話よ。夜間飛行は危険が多いわ。
Oh, like the dice with those pig things?
Meaning they were of the least use when needed the most. Aoko sighed.
そういうあなたは朝は随分と強気だったけど。ん？ああ、こっちは予定通りよ。明日までには絞り込めると思う。今朝、飛び丸にうちの生徒の自宅と行動時間を調べさせたから。
Oh, yeah, that's the thing you had in plan for him.
あの時間に公園をうろつくやつはめったにいないし、簡単に割り出せ。
Yeah. It should be very easy to figure that out. How many students work that many jobs?
行くわよ。伊達に生徒会に勤めてないわ。その程度のデータは揃えてある。月1のバイト先はおろか、親しい友人宅との移動時間、その優先順位まで調べ上げてるんだから。
Useful stuff.
I have that on everybody, except for this new kid.
Wow. No, she knows his jobs. She grilled him on that.
人には見せたくなかったリストだけど、そんな余裕ないでしょ？だから、そういうのが向いてる副会長にやらせたの。
So now I'm gonna make it seem like he's the one gathering information on everybody.
Well.
Good scapegoat. He has a very sidekick-like face. Incidentally, the creation of this secret file started the moment Aoko became student council president. The mere rumor of its existence was enough to strike fear into the entire student body.
そう。徹底しているわね。相変わらず。
Alice was only mildly surprised. It had been almost 2 years since they first started living together. She knew as well as anyone that when Aoko put her mind to something, she saw it through to the end.
ま、私もあれがこんな風に役立つとは思ってもみなかったけど。ほんと、備えあれば憂いなしとはこのことね。
What happened last night was far beyond a mere exception to the rule. This predicament should not have even been possible.
それより、原因は分かったの？結界の結びに不手際があったなんてのは聞かないわよ。
Aoko glared at her. The ward was Alice's responsibility.
Right.
If it was to blame for last night's trouble, Alice had to own up to her fair share. Alice and Aoko may have been roommates and partners, but it was a relationship of convenience and attraction, at least on Aoko's part. While lineage had brought them together, they were more like enemies than allies. Ultimately, they were just not a match. Where there was a blunder, it was punished. Where there was an opening, it would be attacked. If there was even an opportunity, the two of them would kill each other in the event of such a moment. Alice locked eyes with Aoko. Aoko's fierce gaze could make a grown man cower in fear, but Alice didn't bat an eyelash.
仮の話だけど、あの結界に落ち度があったのなら、今まで何度もこういう状況になっていたでしょうね。
Unless there was something wrong with it specifically last night.
Right, like if it wasn't prepared correctly or something.
I suppose you're right, Aoko agreed as the question reaffirmed her trust in Alice.
結界のあり方は完璧だったのね。絶対とまでは断言はできないけど。
Man, I don't know. Alice answered as flatly as ever. A bounded field is like a sanctuary sealed away from the real world. Steps are taken whereby a certain area is cut off from the outside world. There are various kinds of bounded fields. There are physical ones that close off an area behind a wall, and less tangible ones that use mirrors, mist, or trees to conceal that which occurs within. However, when closing off an area to the outside world, you cannot avoid communicating the abnormality's existence. In other words, the area may be closed off to the outside world, but it is impossible to hide the fact that it is closed off.
Right.
In time, someone will take interest in a sealed-off area even if they can't see what's going on inside. Some might say this is putting the cart before the horse. The ideal field would be one that was both undetectable and impervious to interference from the outside.
Yeah, ideally.
That was exactly the kind Alice had generated in the park the night before. Okay, so Alice makes perfect bounded fields, good to know.
Maybe.
その場所に用があっても、今はないように思わせれば、誰もそこには立ち入らない。
What if they didn't have a reason to be there and were just wandering?
一時的な意識の改ざんを促す結界を張る。手間はかかるんだけど、1時間程度の人よけには信頼性は高い結界よね。アリスの鏡を使った一級品だし、途中で破れることもない。事実、入ってきたのはあの人形だけだとはっきり感じられた。これで完璧じゃなかったら何が完璧なのよ。
Well, it's a bounded field that missed a dude.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just saying.
It can't be that perfect if a guy just wandered in.
Unless he's like an expert in concealing his presence.
Or if it's like Toma and he's just a living anti-magic.
Well, I would think you would sense the drain of the field, though. Like, if Toma were to enter one of those fields, it would either break instantly.
Yeah.
Or you would be able to detect his presence by the fact that all the energy was getting sucked to a single point.
Yeah, maybe.
Like...
Or someone who's just naturally immune to magic. He doesn't cancel it, just a perfect blind spot.
私もわからない。
Hmm.
森作りに落ち度はなかったわ。森は数日かけて栽培したものだし、今まで通り信頼できる結果よ。けど例外があったのなら、どこかで見落としがあったのね。
Though Alice's words conceded the possibility, her eyes expressed her confidence that she had overlooked nothing.
参った。こうなると、
Well,
一番いいのは
shit.
あいつが人形使いだってパターンね。それならかろうじて納得できる。相手が魔術師なら
And you would
結界の
certainly
侵
get
入
in
ぐらい
less
できるでし
trouble
ょう
if
し。
a mage witnessed you.
Well, let's just hope that the student that I go to school with was the guy behind everything.
Yeah.
That would make our lives easier.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Kill two birds with one stone. Eliminate the puppeteer and the witness together.
問題は侵入した時の違和感をどうやって消したかってことだけど。
Yeah, that is the problem.
The thought of being targeted by this individual was pretty terrifying. If they were able to penetrate Alice's field, it could only mean that their skill in magecraft was superior to Alice's. Alice, in her current state, would be completely helpless against such a foe.
In her current state, huh?
その線はないわ。
Look like Dragon Balls.
Yeah, that's definitely the chocolates.
Yeah. Okay.
So, during the interlude, no wonder Alice was so annoyed that her chocolates were disappearing.
Yeah.
If her chocolates are somehow bound to her magecraft.
Or, like, they're familiars? Like...
Well, yeah, that's what I mean,
yeah.
right? It would explain why she was annoyed that Aoko had, like, supposedly eaten, like, 3 of them without permission, and then Aoko just casually ate another one in front of her.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a dick move if Aoko also knows these are tied to Alice's magecraft.
Yeah, that would be odd.
彼は部外者。ムクドリはともかく、ロビンが後をたどれなかったもの。魔力の気配は全くなし。誰かの魔術で操られている犠牲者。
Right, it wouldn't be a familiar or any kind of magical construct.
Aoko was quickly running out of straws to grasp at. And what that meant was she was out of questions to ask. All she could do was call it bad luck and leave it at that.
魔術師の秘密を見られて、おまけに目撃者を逃がした。か。普通の高校生の悩みじゃないな。
Because those are boring and don't make for a great visual novel about magic.
Right.
They make for great slice of life visual novels, but
Sure.
like not not this.
Not magic adventures.
The sofa groaned as she leaned back. Her gaze went up to the brown ceiling with a sigh. It wasn't much of a view. She was becoming increasingly depressed.
青子、覚悟を決めておいて。
About what? Whether I think your bounded field was broken or not?
Let me see.
Her roommate's voice seemed indifferent. But Aoko just kept staring up at the wooden ceiling.
それとも、あなたにできないのなら、
I could find and kill this person who goes to your school.
I could just kill everyone that goes to your school. That would solve the problem.
That might draw too much attention.
Well, just say it was a gas leak.
Yeah, that works.
Nobody
church
ever
is very
questions
casual
when it's a
about that.
gas leak. The cool-mannered girl's statement carried an equally icy implication. Aoko took the words in slowly with as much sincerity as she could muster. It was like trying to swallow molten lead.
Ew.
Tasty.
そうだ。覚悟なんて、もう決めたでしょ。
The thought sounded hollow, even as it popped into her head. This was clearly different from last time. While the aim was indeed the same, the circumstances surrounding her target were clearly different. She may have been determined before, but that was as a mage. If enemies emerged, she would kill them. If she was challenged, she would step up to the fight. It was a fight between 2 mages, and her opponent was in the wrong. Even if this could only end in death for one of them, it was an outcome both parties could accept.
Right.
Kill or be killed. Morality had no weight on this scale. But this time was different. Her opponent was neither enemy nor mage. Even if she was prepared to kill them, this person was likely not ready to die. That's why morality did factor into it now. Was she truly up to the task of murdering an innocent person? Could she swallow the fact that this was a common occurrence for a mage? She snorted sardonically. Man, there's a word nobody uses.
Yeah. That's a bit rare.
Being a mage didn't mean that Aoko was some kind of monk who could cut ties with the real world on a whim. If there was one thing Aoko hated, it was doing things without conviction or an understanding of exactly why she was doing them. When she acted, she preferred to act decisively.
やるしかないだろうね。